We're excited. We're going to be talking about our favorite topic, and that's how to use social media and the organic method to generate leads for your insurance business. So we're really excited to kind of dive into this and answer the number one question that we probably get, which is, what do I post on social media to start generating business? And so we're going to dive into that with you all today. Make sure that you got your pen, your paper ready, because this is going to be some good stuff for you guys to take some notes for sure, and absolutely be ready to take some action after this call, because we don't want to spend this time together and then not take action, because then it's just kind of a waste of time. So be here, be present, and then be ready to go do something right after this call to grow your business.
If you need a pen, here's a pen. So, but happy you guys here. So you guys can see us and hear us. That's awesome. We got a lot to dive into. So I'm David. This is Elle. For those that don't know and are maybe new here, we're the founders of Jumpstart Go, who created this Facebook group, Marketing for Insurance Agents, for you guys to come together, collaborate, share knowledge, tips, learn from each other, ask questions. New agents to 50 plus years of experienced agents in here. It's an amazing community that we try to make as valuable as possible. Find referral partners. There's people all over, and they love connecting and setting up referral relationships. And we do a bit of training every Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern right now in the Facebook group, whether it's a Facebook Live or a webinar for you guys. In fact, we've probably done 600 or 700 of these trainings over the years, and we have them recorded, and we have some really amazing ones that we're always happy to send your way too. And outside of that, we love working with agents directly inside of our programs, the Closures Quick, Producers Academy, consulting and helping them grow and scale their businesses. Have worked with about 550 plus and absolutely love the opportunity to work with them. And separately, outside of everything, we do have a life insurance agency we run too, practice what we preach. And we love this industry and the community and watching you guys grow and scale. So with that, we don't have too many new announcements. Are we still having our Facebook Live or webinar next Monday?
Yep. So same time. Regular Facebook Live next week.
4 p.m. Eastern next week. People might be wondering, since it's Easter weekend, 4 p.m. Eastern next Monday. Come join us. We're going to dive into some more training for you guys. Promise will be worth the time and coming and joining us. So with that, we want to get to the meat. We want to get to a common question we get all the time, and so that we can help answer this for agents. Because I think a lot of agents, the social media can be a powerful tool. You've maybe seen some others use it. You've maybe used it yourself, or maybe you've just I know it's big and powerful and somehow people use it for business. I've just never used it personally. So I think most people, as we already see some yeses in there, realize social media is a big opportunity. Social media can help me grow my business, but I don't know how. And I also, the common question being there, what we're talking about tonight, is I don't know what to even post or what to do, what to put out there. I'm scared. I'm scared of saying the wrong thing or posting something of myself or heaven forbid, being on a video or whatever. That's really scary. And so I don't even know what to talk about. What would I talk about? Do people just get on there and talk about, the details of an insurance policy all day, or did they do something different? I don't know. So that's what we're here to answer tonight, guys. What do I do on social? What do I post? How do I use it? How do I leverage it? And that's what we're going to dive into. So let me tee up tonight's training, and we'll get rocking and rolling. So why listen to us a little bit on this and the insurance side is, we've personally helped insurance agents 2 times, 3 times their production and more, fire their lead vendors and ditch the smiling and dialing forever through organic marketing strategies. So we regularly help agents move away from the smiling, dialing, the leads, and more coming in from social media and growing their business on there. In fact, we have agents that never worked leads that have just grown off social. So we founded Jumpstart Go in 2018. This group's now grown to about almost 33,000 insurance agents. Like I said, we've worked with over 550 different agents and agencies. We've generated somewhere between 3 and 4 million from social media over the last few years. And we love teaching our clients how to grow through organic growth strategies, free business and clients that want to work with you. So what are we going to talk about specifically tonight? So today we're going to talk about what content to post on social media to get those leads and conversations started. We'll be covering the type of content to post, how to create content that doesn't sound salesy or desperate, which I think a lot of agents are worried about, and how to position yourself as the go-to insurance expert. I want to be the person that they come talk to, the person that they come listen to, the person they come ask questions. How do you position yourself as that go-to expert? And so we're excited to dive right into that. So Elle, let's talk about it. Let's go ahead and jump into the foundations to a successful organic marketing strategy? What are even the first steps before I hop into this? Elle, let's jump in.
So one of the things that I think is, I see this happen all the time as far as people that they'll start working on social media, they'll start putting content out there and posting regularly. And then they'll say, oh, well, it doesn't really seem to be working. I don't have people reaching out to me. I don't really have people engaging with my content. And the reason why is usually there are some key things that they may have missed along the way before they, got started with the content strategy. So there's a few steps that need to be taken in order to have success on social media. And that's going to really come down to first knowing your target market. I think that all successful marketing strategies really start with knowing what your target market is and who that person is, like who is an ideal client for you. One of the questions I love to ask myself and that I ask clients that we work with regularly, and this would be something I would write down, is who can my products help the most? And really starting with that question, I think really helps. I mean, a lot of times, we have incentives for why we choose the products that we sell based off of maybe the commission structure, or we particularly like the product for X, Y, and Z. Maybe there's a lot of people that need the particular product, but we want to think about why the client needs the product and why it's a benefit for them. And really starting with thinking about that, of who I can help the most with my particular products and why. That's a great foundation to start with when you're starting to think about a marketing strategy. And being able to answer this question effectively is going to help you later on when you're starting to put together your content, which we are going to talk about as well.
I think a great piece of that, which we talk about actually in that second thing that we're about to talk about there, is I help X with Y through insurance. Guys, at the end of the day, we know people don't buy insurance because they love insurance. They don't buy it because, man, the IUL thing is, that policy is sexy. I need it. I want it. Grab me that IUL.
That doesn't go on somebody's vision board somewhere.
Yeah, all day long, I want to buy those auto insurance policies because what if something happens, right? No one's waking up being like, man, I'm excited to buy some insurance today, right? Like, if you find those people, send them my way, please. But they generally don't think like that. And so people aren't buying insurance to buy insurance. They're buying it for what it accomplishes for them. There's a deeper reason to why they purchase insurance. So that's the why. That's what I help them with through insurance. So the X is who I help, right? So we're just talking about that. We need to know who is our target audience, because if we don't know, how in the world are we going to bring them to us? How in the world are we going to speak their language? How in the world are we going to have solutions for them? If you're the agent that's like, I help everybody 0 to 1,000 years old, then you're not really going to attract anybody in particular. And it's like the most watered down, ineffective marketing period. You got to know your target audience. And it doesn't mean we can't help others, but we got to have a target that we're able to speak the language and bring to us. So that's the X. The more specific we can get, the better. And then the Y being, what do we help them with? Protecting their legacies, protecting their families, accumulating wealth, planning for their children's financial futures or for their higher education, for protecting our assets from the unexpected and protecting us from getting sued into bankruptcy, for protecting our health and not going bankrupt because we got sick. All these things are ultimately what we're helping people accomplish through insurance. So that's the why. So think about those, because that's the first thing, is knowing your target market, which leads us into the next area. If I know my target market and I'm going to start being on social media, what's my home base? What do I need to optimize? With that, we're going to talk about the second thing, is once I know my target market and I know I'm going to start wanting to start doing a bit of social media, I've got to optimize my profile, right? And so part of that is my home base. My home base on social media, on Facebook, for example, is my personal profile. So I need to optimize that. So if someone comes to my personal profile, they know I'm an agent, they know what I do, they know who I help, because that's the first things they're going to be seeing, and that's what they're going to learn about me. So how many of you guys are what we call a secret agent? Meaning no one really knows what you do. If they came to your personal profile, they wouldn't find a scrap of evidence that you did insurance at all. Or maybe if they had to dive really deep to find anything about it, or being like, hey, I never talk about business or what I do, or insurance at all in my personal profile. And I'll be honest, this is a lot of agents. They're secret. No one knows who they are. No one knows what they do. And if someone came to the profile, they would know maybe that, what you had for dinner 2 nights ago at the restaurant, but they'd have no idea who you help as far as the insurance side. So Elle, we want to talk a little bit more about optimizing the profile?
Yeah, I think that this is something that it's very, very obvious when we kind of think a little bit more about it, but it's one of the biggest missing pieces and one of those foundational steps as far as making sure that you're building your presence on social media. So if we want to get out there, if we want people to know what we do, if we really want to start establishing ourselves as that authority, that expert, that subject matter expert that people reach out to and become that go-to. I know who that is every time now.
Matt Murray, baby. I know it's him.
And really become that go-to expert, then we gotta first have our profiles that even start to communicate. I cannot tell you how many profiles I review on a weekly basis, and there's nothing on their personal profile about being in the business of insurance or how to help people through insurance. Like nothing about this. So one of the things that David and I do talk a lot about, which we haven't mentioned yet, is how effective using your personal profile for business is. And a lot of people just aren't doing it. And so if you're tuning into this is another writer downer here, and that is to start using your personal profile to talk about your business. And the profile should also be optimized to let people know that you're in the business of insurance, that you're in the business of helping people through insurance. And like David said, who you particularly help through insurance, so that you really want that profile when your ideal client, your ideal prospect is coming and they're looking you up online, you want them to think, oh, they help people like me. Psychologically, that's what we want that first thought to be, is that that you work with people like them. So again, that's another really big reason of knowing who that target market is, so that you can optimize your profile to really speak to them and communicate that message.
I love it. And as an example, Christy, always happy.
Yes, go Christy.
It makes me smile whenever I see you in the comments, Christy. For those who don't know Christy, when she originally came and started working with us, correct me if I'm wrong, Christy, but had just gotten licensed as an agent, hadn't really done sales before, hadn't done social media. And I just remember had the best attitude in the world of, hey guys, I'll do whatever you want. I just want to help people and know how to do it on social. And she did it and followed right along with what we taught and absolutely crushes it. So example right now is she got back from this weekend, had 3 quote requests in her direct messages. So, so awesome. I love it, Christy. So proud of you, and you're rocking it right now. So awesome, Christy. But yes, that's the thing. Social media is effective, but you also got to know how to use it, how it works, or else it's not going to do any good. Like, a car is really great, but if it breaks down, you have no idea how a car works or how to fix it, your car isn't going to do much good, right? So same thing with social media and strategy. So yeah, so we talked about optimizing your profile. Honestly, we could do a whole presentation on that, and we have many times. And so if you want that training of how do I optimize a profile, what are some of the steps of that, and we'll get you some info on optimizing profile, or even better, we'll even show you how you can grab some calls with us where we'll even go through profile with you. So we're going to go ahead and move in to some of the next areas, because we already covered that on some other trainings. So we want to dive into some different stuff with you guys here. With that, Elle, now we're going to move into actually the main part of what we were talking about. Now we kind of know that there's got to be some background first, but let's talk about posting. Let's not even talk about the business side yet, because I guess we're not only posting business, we're doing some other stuff too. Elle, tell us about what we should also be posting.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest concerns that people have on when they start posting on social media, they really start thinking about developing a social media presence, is they're like, oh my gosh, what are my friends and my family going to think? I don't want to walk into a party or walk in on Sunday at church, and then all of a sudden it's like people scatter because they don't want me to approach them about talking about insurance. I don't want to alienate my friends, or I don't want to come across salesy. And a lot of this is one of the top concerns. I think it's very human, it's very natural, especially if we're just getting started in a new career. We don't want to feel like we're like shoving it down our friends and family's throats. clients, right? We really want them, I mean, of course, we would love to help them, but it would be way better if they approach us about it versus like us, feeling like we have to approach them. So one of the beautiful things about social media is that the strategies, especially when you're using a personal profile, rely very heavily on posting lifestyle content. So this isn't even content necessarily related to your business. And now let's be honest, like David and I, most of you out there, we're business owners, right? Like the business is a very, very big part of our lives. So those are going to be aspects that we're going to be posting about on social media if we're, really truly sharing what our lives are like on social. But one thing that I just really think that helps take the pressure off is that most of your content when you start a social media strategy is going to be focused on more lifestyle content. So David, what are some good examples of lifestyle content that you see perform really well?
I love it. So guys, in fact, I'll even ask you guys, like, because people are like, I don't know what to post for. And I swear on some calls we've had with people, will be like, I'm not interested at all. I just sit at home and I work and that's all I do in my life. And I guarantee that's not true. And especially for 99% of people. Maybe there's the 1% of hermits that's the case, but everybody has something doing outside that. Kids, Chrissy, excellent example, right? And honestly, one of the things that most people will relate with on social, whether they're parents themselves, grandparents, they have nieces and nephews, really any of it, they're still going to relate on the kids side. So Christy, she talks about her kids. She has her kids on her videos sometimes. In fact, I remember some of her original Facebook Live videos and stuff as well. And that's really where, that's a part of our lives, right? And so talking about our kids, some of our stories, some of the experiences with them, some of the stuff we're doing as a family and stuff, whether it's trips or sports and stuff, that is amazing for social media as our audience relates with it. In fact, it also ties into a lot of areas of insurance. So naturally, it kind of even comes into, life insurance, health insurance, and, even PNC, protecting the family and stuff there too. So once again, kids, amazing. I'm even just going to pull up some examples here because the people in the comments are getting this right. Exercise, dance, basketball. Yes.
Love it.
Our hobbies are whether it's sports, whether it's hobbies, whether it's, interests. I've seen people do quite well, even talking like video games and other things. Whatever those things are, I guarantee we have an audience that relates with them. But at the very, very end of the day, it makes us more human. It makes our audience know us a bit more and who we are and our personalities and what we're passionate about. And that connects them and builds this know, like, and trust, which is a foundational aspect of not just social media, but really just relationships and people in general. We build this know, like, and trust in this relationship. And that trust is, hey, Elle, let me sit down and you see how you can help. Hey, Elle, I know you understand what it's like to be a parent. I feel like that's important for the person I work with for my life insurance. I would love to sit down and talk with you, and so on. These are things that make people relate. I've actually had people come to me before through connecting through video game. We're in a chat on there and like, hey, what do you do? Oh, I do this. Oh, I need to talk to you. You'd be surprised at what all opportunities come out of things. So why not mix it with our passions and what we love doing? Guys, growing your business can be fun. You guys know that, right? It doesn't have to be a struggle. It doesn't have to be awful. It doesn't have to be, I dread, doing everything every day. You can have a lot of fun while building your business also. Elle and I have a ton of fun. I mean, not every day. Some days are a little rough, but most of the time we have a really good time while building the business. And that was back from day one when rubbing two pennies together might have been a little tough. And so, that's the thing. If you have fun, it makes it more enjoyable. My dog's antics, pets,
yes. Dogs antics. I love it.
In fact, if you don't have a pet, I'd go buy a pet today so that you can content in social media. It doesn't have to be a high maintenance. Go grab a goldfish at least. But yes. Can
you write off the goldfish as a business expense at that point?
For content on social, you could write your goldfish off. Yes. Not that it's too expensive, but you could write it off. I'm not an accountant, don't sue me. But pets, excellent. And I'm not like, I've seen people actually, their whole name of their agency was based off and around their pets, like their dogs, for example. And so it's very powerful. Pets are very close to us. People relate with pets. Pets always do funny and silly things. There's a reason that even if you look at some of the mascots or whatever, different insurance companies, they're metamorphosis, or whatever animals that can talk like people. They're based on animals, whether it's a lizard or gecko, whatever you want to call it, whether it's the ostrich, I think Liberty Mutual or whatever, or emu. Sorry, don't sue me again. I don't even know my animals or whatever. But that's the thing. Like, people relate with animals a lot as well. So like I said, we can have fun with what we talk about, even if it's just us playing with the dogs on a Friday, right? Like Jeff says, absolutely. And so, new haircuts, yes, new haircuts, right? Like Josh said. So, these are the things that are our life, but we don't normally share a lot of this stuff on social or see that this can somehow relate into business. We think, oh, if I want to use it as a business tool, I just need to be talking about, life insurance or health insurance and stuff all day long. Guys, you're going to bore people to tears. That's not how it works. I want 80%, of my content is me, my life, my social stories about who I am. And even better, guys, I promise it's going to scare some of you guys, but it's not scary. Video, guys, even being on video talking about it, right? And so I know it scares us, but it's important. So guys, hopefully this generates some topics. You guys didn't even need me. You guys generate plenty of topics on your own hobbies and passions, sports. If you're doing any volunteer work, nonprofits, kind of talking about that, because that's usually important to us as well. Our kids, our families, all these things or whatever, are things that we can talk about. Travel, absolutely. One of Elle and I's favorite, talking about travel and why we're traveling and trying new things. So yeah. So Elle, anything else you want to add as far as, kind of sharing the life and the personal side?
Well, I just think one good thing to keep in mind too, as you're doing this, is like, think about ways that you can show your face. People do really connect with faces of people, smiling faces. So we work with so many agents, and a lot of newer agents, when they're first getting started, they put a lot of emphasis on designing like a logo and picking out their brand colors. But something that's an even more effective marketing tool is your face. And whether that's getting on video, like David's saying, or taking selfies, or sharing family photos, or families with you and your dog, or you and your goldfish, or you doing your hobbies, or sharing photos of you maybe back in the day playing your favorite sport, or graduating high school, or all of these things. The more that you can put your face in front of your audience, the more they're going to connect with you, and the more memorable what you're saying is going to be. More so than any logo, any brand colors, or any professionally designed like templated things, or pretty little social posts that you find off of Pinterest, or any of that. Like, your face is what your strongest brand asset, because people are going to connect with that and they're going to relate to that. So as you're generating this lifestyle content, like, it doesn't always have to be like your face, but definitely make sure that you're bringing your face into the content that you're sharing, because that's what people are going to remember the most.
I say, and if this isn't breaking the camera, you guys are safe. You guys are
exactly.
Don't worry about it. Got a face built for radio, baby. So yeah. And so I don't want to dive like so deep into why things work like this. I mean, I'm happy we talk about it on plenty of other trainings and stuff too. I want to make the majority of this on what we're posting, because that's the topic. But there's a reason, and I'm sure it's less scary after you guys are starting to hear this, of, hey, 80% of the stuff I'm posting or talking about is just my life in general. Okay, it's social media. I'm not necessarily, well, maybe some of you are scared a little bit initially because you're not using social that much yet, but you'll find out it's not scary at all. And for those that you are, like, well, that's kind of some of the stuff I'm posting anyways. I'm fine posting my life, family, what's going on. That's what I'm used to, and that's what people seem to like. And for a short reason, of one of the reasons why that's important is people generally engage with it. They like seeing what's going on in your life. They like commenting. Oh, I didn't know you traveled there. Oh, I've been to that spot too. Oh, did your kid win the game? It looks like they're having a soccer game or whatever. They're commenting, they're engaging, and that's a part of the Facebook algorithm, is engagement. There's a reason we focus on this, because it gets engagement. And now we're going to talk about the business side. And so now we're going to talk about the business side. And I think this is the biggest area. So that's why we've left plenty of time to talk about this, of where people get stuck. What do I talk about on the business side? And I'll tell you all the things before we even dive into this, of the things not to post on the business side, because this is the stuff I normally see. The very first thing is nothing. And that's the first thing we're going to fix, is nothing. And that's where I'm the secret agent. I don't post anything about the business because I'm scared, for many different reasons, of posting about the business. And one of the reasons is I just don't, or whatever, and that's part of the secret. But I'll go ahead and clear some common limiting beliefs and misconceptions. So people think, hey, I don't want to inundate my family, friends, connections about the business. It's going to scare them all away and they're never going to talk to me and they're going to run at family reunions. And I will tell you, Facebook is smarter than you. Facebook's smarter than everybody. Facebook's very, very smart. The whole algorithm, very complicated. It's advanced math. I don't know, right? It's something way beyond me. And so, but the thing is, it knows what people want to see, and it's very good at adjusting to people and what they want to see. If they're family and they don't want to see the business stuff or don't really care about it as much, don't react to it, it shows them less of that stuff. And sometimes it doesn't even show it to them at all, and only your personal post, and vice versa. So every time we post, it doesn't go out to all of our people and they see that. It's not how social media works. So if you're worried about thinking it's like a big broadcast button whenever you post that it goes out to everybody you're connected with, it's not how it works. And so that helps you be a little less fearful, being like, oh, so if I am posting about stuff, it doesn't necessarily go to all my family and friends and all the time and stuff there. No. So I want to clarify that a little bit. So one of the things is just not posting at all because I'm afraid of what I'm posting. So we're going to clear that out the window right now. And so the number 2 thing is come get a free quote from me. And that's the total that someone posts for business. Come get a free quote. Come talk to me about insurance. Who are you? Why would I come talk to you insurance? What type of insurance? What do you even do? I don't even know why, and that's it. That stuff does not work, guys. Nothing. And then the third thing before I kind of talk some more about what to post is people posting like shame and guilt, trying to get people to do stuff. Hey, you got insurance on your phone, but not on your family. You don't care about your family. Or like, hey, you're irresponsible or bad if you don't have this, that, or whatever. And like using shame, guilt, that sort of stuff, making people feel bad or like whatever. You may at some point eventually end up convincing them to go do something with insurance that's not going to be with you. And so that's the end of the day. People like get, I think, a little jaded of, hey, I've called people and talked to them, they didn't purchase, and I've put so much hard work, I'm not getting results. So, hey, you guys are, irresponsible if you don't get insurance. And that does not work, guys. Like, we don't use shame and guilt. That doesn't get people to make a move, and especially to work with me personally if I'm using that. I want to use stuff where it's more educational, consultative. So that's what we're going to lead into talking about. So, Elle, please talk about a little bit on that business content we're sprinkling in.
Yeah.
What are some of the things we should be talking about in person?
Perfect. So I love that you said that as far as like sprinkling in the business content. So we've already established that most of the content that you're going to be sharing, about 80% or so, is going to be your lifestyle content. So that's going to be a majority of what you're sharing on a regular basis. And then we want to think about sprinkles, like, like a sprinkle on a cupcake or something like that.
Salt Bay.
Or a Salt Bay, yeah. That is your business content, okay? So then we're going to be bringing in business content, and we're not going to just be like, hey, reach out to me for a quote. Like, there's just not super valuable. So we want to focus on content that is valuable content, especially if we've done a good job of establishing that target market. We know who we're talking to. Ideally, we're creating content that relates to insurance and the types of insurance that we sell and how it specifically relates or solves that problem for our target market. So, and also some easy things that you can start doing on social is just starting to let people know about, about what you do and giving them some stories that they can plug into so they can better understand you as an insurance professional. So okay, you guys, you got your pens and paper ready here, because I'm going to rattle off some good topics that you can take. You can implement this today. One of my favorites is telling the story about how you got into insurance or why you're into the business of insurance. That might be 2 different things. But a lot of times for most of us, there is something that we feel very connected to as far as like why we do what we do. And so sharing that story, think about it almost as like your origin story, like what makes you you and why you're in the business of insurance. The very first policy you wrote, tell that story. Who was that person? Was it yourself? Was that the very first policy that you ever wrote? If so, like talk about why. Was it for a child, a grandkid? Was it for an aunt, an uncle? Was it somebody that you didn't know at all? Like share that story about that very first policy you wrote. I feel like we all typically remember the very first person that we wrote. And so that can be a very impactful story to share. Frequently asked questions. Okay. So as you're going through your presentations with clients on the phone or prospects on the phone, those questions that they ask you before they say, yes, I'm ready to get started, make sure you're making a note of what those questions are. Like, write them down after your calls, whether you ended up closing it or not, selling the policy or not. Keep a notepad of, okay, what are the frequently asked questions? What are people asking about? What are their main objections of why they're not moving forward? If it's somebody that, you know, maybe they have to think about it for some sort of reason. What are those things that they're considering? That can make really good content. If you break down, like, okay, you're just taking one question at a time, can be one piece of social media content that you're doing. Another thing that I love to share is client stories. So you're able to help a client in a specific way, solve a problem. I know one of our clients, she went over and beyond recently for one of her clients that had a water main break, and the water was coming into her house and flooding her house. And she, as the agent, went to her house and helped her take all of the documentation and everything that she was going to need to submit. That's a very impactful story for multiple reasons. First, it shows that she went over and beyond for her client. And then two, it also starts to educate your audience about, hey, these are real things. These are real things that can happen. This is why we have insurance to begin with. And then three, what to do in a situation like that. So these are all like very value-based topics that you can start thinking about including in your social media. Again, we kind of want to sprinkle this into the content strategy overall. We're primarily going to be sharing about lifestyle content, but then about 20% of our content, we do want to focus on business. And this is what's essentially going to establish you as that expert, that subject matter authority that people are going to reach out to when they've got questions.
I love it. And when you're doing it in this way, it feels like, and kind of a question related, or we'll talk a little bit about none of the questions, but like it almost feels like that blend of personal and business. It feels natural to now be discussing the business because now it's about a story. It's about something I did. It's about someone I helped. It's about a situation. It's about, just a common question people are asking us and stuff. It's all from an educational perspective or of a story and thought-provoking perspective. It's not a, hey, come buy insurance. Hey, this one insurance policy type has now increased its interest rate that it returns. Like no one cares about it. They care about ultimately like what it's helping them do. Hey, here's kind of a story of how I protected this family, kind of difference it made. Hey, my family's like that. Hey, I don't have anything protecting them. I should talk or whatever. And so this is all a part of this. And as they see some of this, it doesn't even have to be a lot. It could just be a little bit. It could be one of your pieces of content. Or as they see it regularly over a little bit of time showing up, they're like, man, Elle really knows what she's talking about. Or like, this is really interesting. You know what? I probably do need to sit down with Elle. Hey, Elle, let me shoot her a DM. Hey, Elle, can I talk with you? Can we set up an appointment? Fantastic. And that's the type of stuff that happens through social media. It's a comment, it's a direct message, it's a reach out or whatever. They're not going through 50 pages on a website and research. They're like, hey, Elle, I've seen your stuff. I need to talk to you. And then bam, they're booking a time or appointment or hop on a call right then. It's so natural. It's like, what we do in real life. We're just hanging around and people are talking to us. Oh, by the way, I've been meaning to sit down and talk with you or whatever. Same thing, but just on social media. So I think when people realize that doing business on social media and doing business as an insurance agent on social media doesn't have to be salesy, doesn't have to be pushy, doesn't have to be all the type of stuff that we're posting about. That's actually value driven and educational, not like, hey, here's why you need this or whatever. Those are the things when I realize that, I'm like, oh, social media isn't so scary. Social media is kind of fun. And social media is like, if I'm going to, pick between kind of grow my business a bit more through that and people just coming and wanting to work with me to in the phone 500 times a day and hoping someone, is nice enough to let me talk to them a little bit. I think I know which one's going to be a little more fun and a little more sustainable long-term and stuff as well. So, I love social. I think it's great. I mean, that's why our agents like it too. I think Christy can attest that it's fun also. And she's had a good time doing it as well. So Elle, anything else you want to cover before we start hopping into like?
Yeah. And I think too, like you might be sitting there kind of listening to like, oh, well, this social media is probably easier for other people out there, but not so easy for me, because like maybe you don't feel like you have a very interesting life, or maybe you feel like, oh my gosh, I just like don't feel comfortable with social media. I'm not a social media person. I don't use social media. And I just think that it's important to realize that every single person that's having success on social media, David and I included, we all started at the beginning and we all started as a learner. And so I think that just taking the first steps and starting to put some of these things in place, we're not saying that you have to like come out here and be like some social media superstar or mega influencer or the next Kardashian or anything like that, but just taking these steps of optimizing your profile, putting some foundations in place, posting regularly about lifestyle, and sprinkling in business content. I promise you're going to see a lift from doing these efforts. And it's one of these strategies that in the long run, what you're ultimately doing is you're building an asset for your business. This is not something that is going to be, taken away from you, as far as like it's something that you're investing into. And the more that you consistently execute on social media strategies, the stronger and stronger your brand is, because the more and more your audience knows you and knows what you do. So you kind of think about this as like, just like you would build an asset of wealth, or this is an asset of brand equity that you are investing into. And so it's a very good use of your time to be, I say, be intentional on social media. Set a timer, not just like we're clicking on social media and we're mindlessly scrolling and then all of a sudden 30 minutes have gone by. That's not a good investment of our time, but to really be intentional with what you're doing on social media, starting to implement some of these strategies. And then I think that you'll also find it gets easier the more that you do it. So keep that in mind, that we all got to start somewhere, and starting on social media is just like anything else in life and business. It's a skill and it's a muscle, and the more we do it, the better we're going to get, the stronger we're going to be at it.
Just think about the opposite side. What was harder or more scary? The very first call you ever made to a prospect, or the 100th call, or the 1,000th call? It's the same thing. Social media is something that you get better at, a skill set, especially once you know how it works. It's like, oh, it's not so bad once I know how it works a bit. And and that's the thing where people are like, well, I'm maybe not the Gen Y or the millennial or whatever, and like, oh, maybe I'm not as tech savvy. Guys, we have clients in their 70s working with us. We have clients that self-describe as a very tech challenged, to where their electric toothbrush scares them. You listen, guys, like, we will show people exactly how it works, what to do. It doesn't have to be scary at all. I promise you, you can use social effectively. And sometimes it's just having the right coach and right help, someone to help you along, encourage you, push you, and show you exactly what to do, right? So, and I love it. It's like, I thought it was coincidence. Glad to hear it's normal to, I think a lot of people are scared at first. Yeah, it's like Chris said, it's not fair to keep your expertise the secret, guys. You guys are out there to help people.
I love it, Christy.
Cones, we're not selling. We're making a difference in people's lives. You guys owe it to them to let them know what you do and make connections and help people, right? So this is just one of the ways to do it. I love it.